Hello everyone, it's Crendus. Welcome back to Tyranny. So I did a bit of alchemy figuring out what's going on up here, but it doesn't seem like we could do much, mainly because we're restricted by our currency right now. One moment. So yeah, because of that, I think we'll just head out. I made a few healing potions. I probably should actually put those on our quick item bar right now. That's a normal healing potion. Apparently, the supplies that you use for healing potions are their own separate currency. So it's like alchemical supplies or something like that. So yeah, I will probably not be making too many more of those right now, the lesser variety, because, I mean, you use the same supplies for the greater and normal variety as well. I don't think Barrack really needs anything besides a lesser healing potion. And I still don't know how to split items. Don't use it. That would be ridiculous right now. Oh, wow, that's not how you split items. Oh yeah, I also got something else here. What was it? It was this. Oh wait, no, it wasn't. I do have an accent somewhere. Oh, here it is, yes. Okay, Sigil of Selfless Magic. That seems awesome. The scroll contains an ancient magical accent which causes a material force or garden form spell to affect only the caster's allies, but with increased duration and strength. Interesting. We'll see if we can do anything with that in a moment. I guess that'll do for now. Does everyone else have a potion? No and no. He probably can use a potion. Well, what is this? Will revive when defeated. Yeah, let's get rid of the grain and then just give him some healing potion instead. Assuming, oh my god, we have a lot of these frickin' things. Yeah, I definitely need to figure out how to split them. Is it some... I don't want to actually accidentally use them. Oh, what just happened? Drop?
I'm a scholar, not a luggage slave.
Okay. Interesting. I don't know what I did besides just click on it multiple times, but alright. I think that's pretty much good. We can go back and get these. I mean, these are percentile health potions, so they're pretty much good for the entire game, I feel like. Kind of like in Diablo, I guess.
On it.
Runicall, we were there just now. I think we're pretty much done with Lethian's Crossing, honestly. So I guess let's head to... Why is this shiny? I don't know. Let's head to the Bastard City finally. I don't see any reason to stay here. I mean, there's probably more exploring I could do in Lethian's Crossing, but I assume we're gonna go back there anyways for something. Really, we just go directly to the court? I'm kind of disappointed. Well, I guess this other place is really burnt to hell, so that would be kind of difficult to do anything with. When the Bastard City fell to Kairos' armies, Tunon the Adjudicator, Archon of Justice, claimed this palace for his own. Now, Tunon's court serves as the center of law and governance for the Tiers. This sounds awesome. What? That's a bit of a weird... So we teleported to the mountain spire for some reason and did not just go on foot. Which I feel like extended our journey, unless there's no path leading from Lethian's Crossing to the Bastard City, but I feel like there was. This, wow. Darkness. Okay. What do we got here? Noble. The carpets here didn't used to be red. I've never seen Tunon change his mask, and yet the mask changes. Interesting. Lady Lucretius. Oh, are you part of... Oh, the Bastard City, okay, which is Tunon's banner, but okay. This well-dressed older woman stands apart from the milling crowds and nobles. She stares off into the distance, oblivious to your approach, until you're right in front of her. Oh, greetings! She offers a reserved smile. Onda Lucretius, formerly of Thistleholm. You have the look of someone who belongs here, a fate binder, no doubt. Really? Do you need something from me? What are all these nobles doing in Tunon's court? She smirks and shakes her head. Trying to look brave, I warn. But if you came... but if you crane an ear to any of their conversations, you'll hear a different tale. 3 years since Tunon set up shop in the Bastard City, we're still getting used to our new masters, figuring out what we can and can't ask of them. She nods to the assembled nobles. These are smart, ring-plenty folk. The way they approach Tunon, you think they were raised under a tyrant's leash. Some have come to settle agreements, others to pledge fealty. I've been standing long enough to know that the Adjudicator doesn't care for empty gestures. What brings a noble like yourself to Tunon's court? A frown cracks in her pleasant demeanor. Like the rest of the frightened inbreds here, I came to see Tunon and ask him to right a wrong. My manor was destroyed during the conquest. I was told by the Adjudicator my woes, but we didn't exactly see eye to eye. Alright. How's the Bastard City fared since the conquest? Kyrus's forces took the city as we expected them to, without mercy or restraint. The Scarlet Corps spilled more blood than we had to give. We had to tighten our belts when the army replenished their supplies from our farms and caravans. At our surrender, Tunon was kind enough to order grain haul from the north. That earned him a lot of favor. We've suffered our share of hardships, but it seems that Kyrus wants us alive. That's a more generous outcome than some of us were led to believe. What is Thistleholm? A great sigh deflates her. Deflates her. It was my family's ancestral hall. The oldest stones dated back to the years when the Bastard City was not but a dozen roofs and wagons clustering for warmth. Compared to the houses of the great lords, it was nothing special. Age had softened the wood, and its queer placement in the warehouse district set it apart from the finer grounds where lords and ladies strolled for amusement. It was a mess, but our mess all the same. I would invite you over for tea, something stronger even, but it would only disappoint. You'll find not there but a gaping hole. Your home was in the warehouse district? You must understand that Thistleholm predated the city districts. My grandmother was a persistent woman. Merchants stored salted cod and lamprey eggs on the adjoining grounds because there were no... On the adjoining grounds were no cause for her to budge from her spot. What happened? Collateral damage happened. When the Adjudicator casted judgment on the Bastard City, he destroyed the districts of the corrupt merchant kings, their manors, their courthouses, and yes, their warehouses. Aged, dignified, this home collapsed as a massive sinkhole opened under her foundation. The Bastard City's laws may not be perfect by Kyrus' standards, but my family followed them with respect, and never took a copper ring more than we deserved. But I can't help but feel my estate was not the criminal Tunon had in mind during his sentencing. So what are you going to do next? That's the question, isn't it? I appealed to the Adjudicator, thinking he would see reason. After considering my case for all of 8 seconds, he awarded me a belt and rings and a plot of land on the outskirt of the city. Tunon, told me to build anew and start farming. Farming! Can you believe that? And she shakes her head. Well, it's not even that I'm opposed to the labor, but we're in a war. I can't have the Scarlet Chorus breathing down my neck, raiding my crops, and Kairos knows what else. Tunan's word is Kyrus's law, whether you think it fair or not. Okay. Don't I know it? She huffs, meaning no disrespect to either you or your office. I never questioned the power of Tunan's word. I come from a long line of smart, ring-savvy merchants, but even I can't reconcile Tunan's justice with Kyrus's law. There's something wrong about it all. Maybe Tunan knows something I don't, or maybe... She trails off, shaking her head in doubt. What do you mean? People come here for justice. They usually get a version of it, but it's Tunan's version, not theirs. Half the time, they don't even get what they wanted out of a ruling in their favor. She shakes her head. The deed to a farm, for instance. Not to put my own ignorance on display, but if people knew how Kyrus's laws work, they might not come here seeking a ruler at all, or even a fair ruling at all, or even a fair one. Tunan is the servant of law, but he's the overlord's vassal as much as any of us. Sometimes it seems like he uses his position to twist everything in the Empire's favor. We're just pieces on a board, and he can move us wherever the law justifies we stand. That doesn't sound, well, legal. Tunan isn't one to change his mind. Unfair as it might seem, the ruling stands. I had no thought to dispute the ruling, but I appreciate the kindness of your tone all the same. It's an uncommon thing to find in the bastard city these days. Farewell, Fatefinder. Be well. Okay. You be well, too. Any petitioners that displeased Tunan would meet their fate in the pits below the court. Wow. So yeah, I'm getting the impression that Tunan is not exactly a good guy, but we'll see. Kyrus is standard, imposing sight for both conquered and unconquered alike. What is this? Oh. Hey, it's Tunan right there, okay. Whoa. What? These are all familiar names. This is cool. I mean, besides Albatronus and Bloodmulch. Well, I assume when we go up there, something big is going to happen, like a hearing of both sides. None of these painted psychopaths understood the value of Kyrus's law. Awesome. Wait. Why is one dressed in purple? Fatefinder, Callio. They all have different stats too, interestingly enough. And Tunan, I mean, yeah, he has really high stats, unsurprisingly. Tunan likes me a lot, it seems. Compared to most people, it seems. Okay, let's go right up, I guess. Here we go. Tunan, hello. How's it going?
You call yourselves officers of Kairos' army, but your conduct falls short of my expectations. The court finds your accounts of Vendrian's well lacking, rife with misdirection and fallacy, fouled with baseless accusation.
The shadows beneath Tunan's cloak darken and flare around him. Murmurs of unease erupt from in the court. I'm gonna just listen. Albatronus, who's not familiar to me. I guess she's an Iron Guard, though. Your Honor, I've relayed the events as I experienced them. You can well imagine why my vision why my version conflicts with his. She makes a dismissive gesture to the Scarlet Corps representative. On my honor and on that of the great general, I would sooner snap my sword than perjure myself before you, Archon. Oh, so you imply that falsehood comes easier to my lips than yours. You're a fool if you believe that the Archon of Justice won't see through your lies because the disfavored think themselves better than an honest gang.
Silence. The contradictions in your statements will be examined, and falsities threshed from truths. If we find you have perjured yourselves, Blood Mark will see to your fate.
Blooded Mark is Kairos' knife in the shadows. So he's an assassin. That's basically what I'm getting there.
Fatebinder, we will start with the matter of the Archons. Graven Ash and the Voices of Nerat have declared war upon each other. In addition to violating Kairos' peace, they have thrown the conquest of the Tears into disarray. By all accounts, these hostilities began shortly after your arrival. Tell us what transpired.
Oh, this is interesting. Let's see, through powers you can't begin to understand. The voice of Nerat steals the minds and knowledge of his victims. You know this happened often during the campaign against the Tears. What he gains from this ability beyond his apparent madness is anyone's guess. You know better than ask him about it directly. Okay. So let's see. The voice of Nerat may have killed Graven Ash's son, or worse. I mean, this is the truth, so I'm saying that.
Could this be true? The senseless killing of a good Northman, especially the Archon's blood kin, is no small act of war. The Voices of Nerat would answer for this crime.
Clearly the Fatebinder spent too much time resolving the problems of others. She sees only controversy and intrigue. It's no wonder we're worse off now than before she arrived. I love how you can just say, oh, I wasn't there. Well, the Archons have been in different minds since the start of the war.
Your perspective is appreciated, but the dispositions of the two Archons are already a matter of record. Loyal subjects of Kairos have drawn blood from each other, a cardinal crime. Something happened at Vendrine's Well to trigger this feud.
Well, I already told you what I know, so okay. I still like how I could just say, no, I don't know. I wasn't there. The Archons could not agree on who should lead the siege and descended into accusations of treachery. It seemed like a mutual spat. The disfavored were more deserving of the honor. Our tactics and training outmatched the Vendrine Guard at every turn, which is technically not true. What balderdash! The disfavored couldn't tip over a hut, if they had a week to strategize. Our howling mob was better equipped to overwhelm the Vendrine Guard. Our recruits ready to throw themselves at the enemy. If only Ash and his legion would agree to a plan.
The Fatebinder presents testimony. I warned you both against speaking out of turn. Something more than a mere disagreement unraveled this campaign. But I will return to that in time.
Okay.
Let us speak of Ascension Hall. The disfavored sing your praises across the realm, though the Scarlet Chorus appeal for charges of treason. Perhaps you can offer a more enlightened account.
Okay. I claimed the Citadel with a small unit of disfavored, led by Iron Marshal and Enrias. That's what happened.
An efficient solution, the type I would expect from a capable agent. Tell me though, with the edict looming overhead and death the price of failure, why not employ the numerical advantage of the Scarlet Chorus?
Why is there an option here for, like, they attacked me? So, let's see. The Voices of Nerat provoked Ash at every turn. I suspected treachery. For a long while, the Adjudicator hovers in silence, shadows trailing from below his robes.
I will consider this testimony at length. The court thanks you for it. Is there anything you wish to add at this time?
I've told you all that I know.
Your testimony is accepted by the court. The statements of our guests raise questions in my mind. There is much about this campaign that has caused me to wonder. A shipment of iron weapons was short on arrival. Where coveted iron is concerned, I don't believe it to be a clerical error. One of my agents recovered this seal in Echo Call. It belongs to a merchant collective. Lethian's Crossing is teeming with their kind. If you would root out treachery, I would advise starting there.
Okay.
Petitioners, leave us. I would have a private audience with the Fatebinder. Ascend and join me. You will find the way open.
Okay, let's ascend. Hi. How's it going? Oh. I'd immolate you right where you stand. Oh, hello. Fatebinder, you're no stranger to Tunan's court, but I prefer to spend as little time here as possible. In spite of these closed walls, I feel strangely exposed. He glances up at Tunan. Fair warning, when you backed Ash, you were as good as signing your own death warrant, but we shouldn't discuss such matters in a court of law. You'll make our time in the tiers an interesting one, won't you? He smiles for an uncomfortably long time. He looks like Kratos, by the way. Of course you will. Hi, Bitterquip. Hi. Okay. Well, guess we're not friends anymore. How about you people? Elbatronus, I don't know you. Hey, Sevius, hello. Anything beats a prolonged siege, eh, Fateminder? Enjoy the war while you can. Didn't think I'd make it. Oh! This is Aurora from the very beginning of the game. Okay. Fatebinder. The lieutenant gives you a curt nod. She must be part of the Iron Legion. I'm ill at ease in this polished hall, but I admit that it's a reprieve from the battlefield and training grounds. If Ash needs me to stay here and represent his interests throughout the occupation, then I'm up to the task. It can't be worse than our days at Lethian's Crossing. Choking aside, you were generous to grant this favor control over the city. Even the Iron Legion needs a break from the front every once in a while. That would really suck if I gave that to the Scarlet Chorus, I think. Considering I
got it.
Not on the Scarlet Chorus's side. Now, you people that just stood here in silence, hello. Fatebinder, Nunaval. Ah, Corendus, you return, unscathed and more acclaimed than ever. As seems to be your way. The Fatebinder of War claps you good-naturedly and with excessive strength on the back. Come, you must regale me with all that your journey has held. I could use a moment of respite between friends. He regards you with a warm, boisterous smile. Speak as you wish. I'd pay a boar's weight in rings to know your thoughts. He rakes a hand through his thick, red beard and offers you with a grin. Come, let us speak freely. How are you singled out to become a Fatebinder? I cannot speak for the other Fatebinders, but I joined the court when I was yet still a boy, and impetuous beyond reason. I had been imprisoned with a death sentence for the crime of desecrating corpses. He laughs hard and hearty. It was nothing so exciting as your doubt imagining. I was merely burning corpses that waited burial. Before the local authority could see me to the gallows, the adjudicator claimed me a great talent waiting to be realized, needing only to be steered. Why burn the bodies? Corpses piling the streets spread plague faster than the filthiest of rats. I was but 10 and a weak fighter. I did what I could for my homeland. Why was it a crime? There's a time when even the Northmen were of superstitious stock. A time before Kairos brought reason to the realms. The people of my city believed that, without proper rites, I was cheating our fallen warriors from returning to the land. It's a good thing Tunan spared you. As I have said, the adjudicator saw within me something of a rare value, as is true for all of us. You as well were chosen for our great court, for which I am grateful. As the Fatebinder of War, I heavily rely on your talents. Why are you the Fatebinder of War? Tell me about Kairos' army, our allies. Ah yes, with friends like these, our work is often self-explanatory. Were you asking about the Scarlet Chorus or the disfavored? The Scarlet Chorus? The Scarlet Chorus soldiers hail from every corner of the realm, as as the chorus marches, it conscripts it conscripts indiscriminately from those it's conquered. To replenish its ranks, there's no continuity of command in the chorus, and it allows, encourages even the strong to challenge the leaders. But the chorus is numbers, and brute force is almost always a viable solution, much as Rogalis. So is this the Scarlet Chorus, Fatebinder? Much as Rogalis insists otherwise. Besides, the Scarlet Chorus draws strength from the multitudes it swallows. Its blood chanters have taken knowledge from various tier mystics. Many of the chorus's best soldiers were grown here in the south. The disfavored are the iron tip of Kyros's great phalanx, armed with the best weapons, the most comprehensive training, and led by the brilliant Graven Ash. The disfavored have no equals in open battle. The Legion has a saying, Graven Ash protects, and it's no empty boast. The Archon of War is able to lend his will and strength to his soldiers and give them endurance beyond human limits. I have great respect for the disfavored, but I know where I stand with them. They are a very close-knit band, and all of them from northern families, many of them related to each other. But considering our role in the Great Hierarchy, I can't fault Graven Ash for being selective. Oh, because he's a northerner, right. I'm curious about Tunon's maths. They can be rather unsettling, can't they? Even to one such as me. But I can assure you, the innocent need not fear their objective, a motionless gaze. What of the adjudicator's mask specifically would you like to know? I want to know about the face that is no more. Tunon is said to have worn a third mask in eons past. I have heard rumor that the face displeased Kairos and thus was destroyed. As all happens to persons and objects that displease our overlord. What about the face of resolve? Tunon's last known dawning of the face of resolve, was the moment he judged and called ruin to half the districts in the bastard city. Since then, he has ruled our northern tier justly, calmly, and with efficient diplomacy. And the silent face? The silent face is the face that Tunon shows us now. And for that, we are fortunate beyond belief. The silent face is the patient face, the face for listening as Tunon presides over all matters brought to the court, taking great pains to ensure all sides of an issue are heard. Interesting. Have you ever seen Tunon change his mask? In the way that you or I would change our raiment? No, not as such. And yet I have seen the masks shift. They switch without the adjudicator or anyone so much as laying a hand on them. It's not something you could watch unfold. After a time, you merely realize that it has already happened. There's work enough for the court that we shouldn't occupy ourselves wondering over mysteries. Well, I don't work in the court, so, you know. Let's see. Can you remind me of the history and origin of the Fatebinders? The seasoned warrior rubs a finger against the line of his stubble along his cheek. We are a relatively young order, though we have spanned these past 2 centuries. While the voices of Narat and Graven Ash need armies to execute their will, Tunon wields but a modest court of vassals. We exist at the extension of his law. There is no place in all of Terratus beyond our judgment. I would hear of your past victories in the war or recent events. Have you not yet tired of hearing my tales, Grandis? I do admit I never tire of telling them, he laughs, hearty and deep. Very well then, let me champion the feats of my conquest. The glory of Kyros's reign fall on any ears that would hear of it. Okay. While they might not rival one's glorious feats in battle, I take pride in the small dispense of justice I manage between my weekly drills and lectures. Just the other day, I pulled the teeth of a liar and strung them about his neck so that he might consider his words with more care in the future. Okay, that's good for you. I've claimed the spire at Fendry as well. So the court's whispers are true. The fate binder rubs his fingers along the underside of his chin, pondering his thoughts with a great weight. After a moment, he offers you a wistful sort of smile. Someday I would like to witness for myself this tower that has risen above the realms like a blade thrust into the sky. Okay, see you later. Fate Binder Callio. Yep, okay. The Fate Binder Balance regards you with a discerning eye, and for a moment you feel as if she is trying to peer into the very depths of your mind. What can I do for you? Callio touches a gentle hand to your shoulder. Has anything happened while I was away? Regalis traveled to the Velm Citadel to secure the archives for our gracious overlord. The sages there proved more stubborn than we anticipated, so Regalis was forced to proclaim Kairos' Edict of Fire. Oh, so he's the one that proclaimed the Edict of Fire. Got it. Consuming the Citadel in a gulf of internal flames. A sad affair. You seem to know much about my actions. Have you been spying on me? Don't act so surprised. It's my duty to ensure that those who operate under the Adjudicator's name adhere to the spirit of his law, if not to the very letter. Of course, I'm nothing to hide. So you say, but I have to weigh all the evidence presented before me with an objective eye. Assume you are being watched, Fatefinder, but don't concern yourself. That's no more than any citizen of the Empire can expect. I'd like to know more about Tunon. Tunon is our overlord's fair and exacting adjudicator. He speaks with the voice of Kairos' law, and his word is judgment. All of this and more you can learn by asking him yourself. Go on. Or does he intimidate you still? She chuckles softly. I jest, of course. I have some concerns about the war. You are free to share them in my confidence. She leans in closer. Interesting. I almost don't want to say any of these. Our armies squabble at each other's throats. Divided, we cannot win. I am less concerned about the armies than the Archons themselves. There can be no order when mountains collide. Oh, who would you see as a champion? I'm gonna say neither. Her mood darkens. And then who would lead our advances or be left to deliver Kairos' peace? Would you wear this responsibility as a crown upon your head? You may find it a heavy burden to bear. Oh, well, you misunderstand my intent. The Fate Binder studies you with a knowing eye. Do I? Yeah, kind of. Okay, that was weird. Have you occupied your time in the Bastard City? Tunon sends me assignments here and there. I settle disputes between the locals when the adjudicator is otherwise occupied. She smirks. Everything from trade disagreements to pushing core squatters out of basements. Real rewarding work. She waves it off. The glory of war is not an honor reserved for the likes of us. We're the fish swimming in Tunon's wake, picking up scraps along the way. We're rather large and imposing compared to the bottom feeders of the tiers, but fish all the same. Okay, and Regalis, hello. Fate Binder, you return. Regalis looks you up and down with an inscrutable expression. You look as if you have a question for me to untangle. Ask. I'm feeling generous. Tell me about some of the past Archons. Much that was known has been lost regarding the first Archons of Frost, but his talents were improved upon by the following Archons, sisters born together and never seen apart. It is said Rana, Nirabel, and Slayer were so cold at birth that they were thought stillborn. Okay, that was a bit random. Can you tell me about the old walls and the Bane? With which should I start? Tell me about the Bane. The Bane are found in the old walls, but much of their defining qualities still escape me. They are creatures of smoke, claw, and fang. If you find yourself unfortunate enough to fight one, remember that spells are effective against them, but grab the attention of others lurking near. Okay, good to know. Old walls? We know little about the ancient structures, save that they predate all historical record. The forbidding ruins crisscross the tiers and north alike, centuries before we erased our cities. The only one old enough to guess is likely Kairos. Where did you study when you were younger? I've been a ward of the court for as long as I've been aware, rather. As a child, I've demonstrated wholly perfect recall and absorbed all that Tunon and my tutors had to offer. I remember hating the lectures and wishing I could learn more at my pace. Funny how I envied the sages of the tiers, or how they could spend their whole lives reading and never exhaust their library. Of course, now the Valum Citadel is nothing more than a burning waste. What do you think about the other fate binders? You need to be more specific than that, I'm afraid. There is, on the last account, slightly more than a handful of us. What is your opinion of me? You follow an orderly path, regimented and organized, perhaps too orderly for our station, but that is neither here nor there if you execute your job with wisdom. Be sure you don't stray to the path of chaos. Down that way lies rebellion. The Fate Binder of War. Neneval's keen, brash, and hardy braggart. And a hardy braggart with a fondness for bloodshed. He can be utterly unbearable at times. His justice is fair, even if he skews toward a rather exacting and uncompromising punishments at times. And the Fate Binder of Balance. Kellia is the finest amongst us. Her discernment is beyond reproach, and she is perhaps Tunon's favorite. She is a mind for suspicion and observation, which makes others uneasy. We who operate within the confines of the law have nothing to fear, of course. Okay. I'd like to know about the tiers. The political entities of the tiers are essentially split between the Bastard City and the Younger Realms and the Free Cities. Of which would you like to know? I'd like to hear about the Free Cities. There are three free cities remaining. Last Harbor, Spyro's Maw, and the Barrison Chains. The first and strongest of the free cities was the Setting Suns, which Kairos crushed in 429 and with the Edict of Tumult. After that, the remaining free cities were quick to surrender. What can you tell me about the Bastard tier? The Bastard tier is the the most northern of the tiers, and was the first to bow to Kairos' reign. Though the knee they bent fell unwillingly, Kairos set his eye on the Bastard tier for many years before he marched on her capital city. This is the hub of trade and commerce. Claim the markets and the people will follow. I'm curious to know more about the Younger Realms. The Younger Realm... Okay, my apologies there. The Younger Realms sprawl the middle and southernmost tiers and can be cataloged as follows. Apex, Azure, Haven, and Stalwart. Azure was known for its exceptionally fertile land, which fed the whole of the tiers. That was before Kairos' Edict of Stone blighted the land. Stalwart is also worth mention, for it compromises the whole of the southernmost tier and proves the toughest and most defensible of the realms. It is often said that the other realms will not fall while Stalwart yet stands. The local army wages bitter war against this favor, and though the Edict of Storms has cut off the best of their defenses, it is only a matter of time before Stalwart falls. I want to know about the sages. I will not speak of the sages. They are no better than charlatans and cons, wholly selfish in their ill pursuit to hoard all knowledge from others. They are self-blinded by their own deception and clever manipulations. They alone cause their undoing, and are solely to blame for the burning library, one of the most grievous of wrongs in known histories, for which could never be forgiven. Okay, see ya. I guess let's go see Tunon. Oh, I see. So that's how we get over there now. He has to open it. So we can ascend. Oh, we can ascend over here too. I guess we don't need fast mode for this. This is a cool place to stand. Maybe we'll stand up here someday. I'm very curious about the face that, like, I mean, the mask that Kairos removed. And I almost want to say it would be something like, I mean, if my theory is correct, and my ongoing theory is this, specifically because of Graven Ash, like, I think Kairos removed something from all the Archons that basically would allow him or her to subjugate the Archons more easily, or at least, like, obey her laws more easily. So I'm thinking, honestly, Kairos' mask that, I mean, Tunon's mask that was lost was the mask of mercy, because that's often a theme with anything relating to justice. Like, it conflicts with mercy, but like the most just rulers are often considered to have like a good sense of mercy as well. I mean, to a certain point. In any case, let's see. Oh, he has a throne and everything. Can he even sit down? I guess he can.
This civil war, this feud, is an insult to Kairos' peace. It should not have taken the better part of a year to silence the last vestiges of the Oathbreakers.
I agree, Your Honor.
Our allies squabble while our enemies regroup. It falls upon the court to measure the extent of the damage and to execute the agents of disorder. I suspect that treachery, negligence, disunity, and greed have infected one or both of our esteemed allies. Until you are instructed otherwise, this matter is the court's primary focus.
Okay.
Graven Ash and the voices of Nerat must be examined in close detail. You are charged with observing the Archons and presenting your case that one of them has wrought chaos and disorder upon the tiers.
Could they both be guilty?
It's possible, but the momentum of the conquest up to this point suggests otherwise. The failure at Vendrian's Well implies a coordinated will behind the chaos.
Okay.
As always, you will be held accountable for what you do in the court's name. But you are free to conduct your investigation in the manner of your choosing. You must expect lies, misdirection, and manipulation. Suffer not such obstructions of justice.
All right.
The disfavored seem the logical first step in your inquiry. The Legion holds you in some esteem, and Graven Ash has shown deference to the court in times past. No doubt the disfavored will be rife with accusations and evidence against the voices of Nerat. Graven Ash is a noble man, but never underestimate his capacity for deception. A wise general succeeds by knowing when to be unreadable to the enemy. You should, of course, speak with the Scarlet Chorus and gather their testimony. But it stands to reason that most in the chorus would sooner brag about a pauldron fashioned from your skull than entertain your questions. Do not regret killing the rabble that impede your investigation. They will be easily replaced.
Okay. If Graven Ash were guilty, I'd imagine all of his soldiers would lie for him.
I concur. Graven Ash has a reputation for honor and nobility, but nobody is above reproach. If he is guilty of treachery in some fashion, his loyal soldiers will not be the ones to betray him. But if anyone is conducting a symphony of lies, common sense would point to the voices of Nerat. Your fellow Fatebinders have been busy acting as my eyes and ears. I have a few leads for you to follow. You should, of course, speak with your brothers and sisters of the court if you need further counsel.
Okay.
Though the disfavored were triumphant in the Blade Grave, I understand that their troubles within the region are unfinished. Talk to the disfavored commanders serving in the Blade Grave. Perhaps they can shine some light on the origins of this feud.
Sure.
The Oathbreakers were reported to be using iron armaments, more than they might acquire from looting what few disfavored they killed. Any iron in the tiers not rusted through was made by forge-bound hands in Lethian's Crossing. Between craftsman and quartermaster, someone let iron fall into enemy hands. Investigate this matter and bring the thieves to justice.
Can do.
There is a final matter to discuss. A sensitive topic.
Okay. What concerns the What concerns the court, Your Honor?
In spite of the many shortcomings at Vendrian's Well, you managed to make a name for yourself. You proclaimed an Edict of Kairos, resolved its demanding conditions, and ascended the mountain spire.
We did, yes.
Any one of these feats would be worthy of recognition by the highest authority. You managed to accomplish 3.
Just another day in the life of a Fate Minder.
I would caution you against such flippancy to your role. Others would look to you for confidence in the court, in Kairos's very laws. I would not have them see this disappointment on display.
Ah.
Whether by design or by accident, you have captured the attention of Kairos's army and the local tiersmen alike. This is no small opportunity, and the court charges you with exploiting your new standing to its fullest potential.
Okay.
You have a title in our hierarchy. However, it's a little-known secret that one's standing in the world is determined by their infamy, their deeds, and how they come to be known. Mind this notion as you bring justice to this lawless frontier. There may come a time when your deeds speak for you louder than any title.
Okay. Got it. I think.
Whatever you did to capture the attention of the masses at Vendrian's Well, I would encourage you to do so again.
Understood. I will be known as the champion of justice.
Good. It falls to us to set a new standard for these southern barbarians. You are dismissed.
Oh.
Should the court have need of your presence, you will receive word. Go forth and do my bidding, and bring glory and honor to the tiers in Kairos' name.
He raps his gavel against the floor, against the floor, the singular note resounding throughout the hall. And then he disappears. Okay, well. Interesting. Hello, Tunon. Hi. How's it going? You return. It is gratifying to see that the war has not caused you to forget your roots. What is it you wish to know? Oh, wow, we're almost to tier 4. Okay. Tell me about Kairos. Kairos is our overlord. Okay, so she ushers us from the brink of chaos with a stern hand and gesture to the way of peace. We are only too eager to follow in her perfect example. What is your relationship to Kairos? She is my master, and I am her dutiful pupil. In this respect, you and I are no different. I have the honor of Kairos' confidence. She trusts me to enact her law upon the boundless territory of her rule. I am only too grateful to serve. I am the voice of Kairos' will, the harbinger of her judgment, the arm of her justice. I couldn't help but notice you referred to Kairos as a woman. Wow, okay. That's unfortunate. Oh well. Beware of that trajectory of thought. Save for her perfection. There is little about Kairos to which we could ascribe to recognizable attributes. A power as distant as a noble as the overlord should transcend our petty dualities. Male, female, it makes no difference. Kairos is mother to us all. How old is Kairos? By our reckoning, her age upon Terratus is magnificent. Her true span defies measurement by our limited construct of time. It would be a waste to spend a few pitiable years attempting to resolve that riddle of existence. Think of Kairos not as subject to beginnings or endings. Kairos is, and Kairos will ever be. Okay. I don't really want to ask him if Kairos' laws are fair because that's going to just make him mad. Let me ask you something else. Tell me about Bleeding Mark. He is my headman, an assassin without equal. His official designation in Kairos' hierarchy is Archon of Shadows, though I wonder that he ever considers himself aught but a slayer of the unjust. Does he serve you alone? Your question is flawed. We are all servants of Kairos. Yeah, I thought he would say this. The Archons are also agents of their own interests. Those few empowered to bring order to the world in accordance with Kairos' peace. At present, Bleeded Mark is my vassal, and I am his patron. The relationship is not so different from Graven Ashen Karn, or the Fallen Archon, or the voice of Narat and his songbird Siren rather. Such partnerings and apprenticeships are common. They provide mutual benefits to the Archons involved, as well as a measure of oversight. How did he earn his title? His work away from the court takes Bleeded Mark to the dark places of the world. The Tears and the Northern Empire alike. Over time, shadows became his domain. They cloak him, protect him, and even fight for him if the need arises. It is said that Bleeded Mark can travel to any place where shadows are cast. Only he would know this for certain. I'm curious about you, Archon. Curiosity is not a trait that I encourage in my servants. Too often have I witnessed such activity leading down a path to lawlessness. However, if you feel it would give you a better understanding of me, if you feel that a better understanding of me will inform your work, then I will allow it. What would you know? Tell me about your rise to become adjudicator. Curb your ambition, student. My path to this dais is not one that can be replicated under any circumstance. However, if your curiosity is determined, I will tell you my story. I wish to understand law and your execution of it. An admirable pursuit. You know much of Kairos' law and the maintenance of order already. My history may tell you something of how it can be used to win wars. I came to the world centuries ago, before the dream of unified Northern Empire was fully realized. My home country lay far from the borders of Kairos' realm, and our conquest was a matter of distant speculation. Decades before the rumor of Kairos' approach grew in panicked volume, I familiarized myself with the intricacies of her law. It took me no time at all to realize the benefits of our inevitable subjugation. I took it upon myself to rise in my country's governance as an arbiter of law and drafter of covenants, building some notoriety for my execution of fair justice. As my influence and trust of my people evolved, my decisions transcended to define further proceedment. Go on, rather. What my countrymen could not have surmised was that I had woven into our customs the very backbone of Kairos' law. I set the stage for conquest of our floundering nation to join the Overlord's empire. By the time the Overlord's armies presented themselves and offered terms of surrender, we'd adopted Kairos' peace in all but name. Our absorption in the empire was a matter of legal formality. Negligible changes to our already beloved document of law. The people credited me as an architect of peace, and for a time called me Tunon the Fair. Oh, maybe that's actually his other mask. Anyways, as my importance grew in their estimate, Kairos could not help but learn of the part I played in her bloodless victory. Kairos' law has a breadth of intricacies that is unapproachable to the masses. I was chosen to interpret and represent the Overlord's will across the Northern Empire and beyond. This time as a adjudicator, it is my pride, my duty, my life. Did you come up with the office of the Fate Binders? Indirectly, yes. Just as I am the representative of Kairos' law across Terratus, you are the face of my judgment for the people. I took inspiration from the Overlord's example, as we all should. The people needed an approachable face to settle their grievances, and I am not available to adjudicate on every sharecropper's dispute. The Fate Binders were an inevitable solution. What does it mean to be an Archon? I am a figure of power and significance. Under Kairos' mandate, I am able to exercise my authority for the benefit of all. Had I not earned the Overlord's approval, I would not stand tall before you. Okay. Did you come into power yourself, or did Kairos foster your talents? An astute question. Doubtless I exhibited some spark of potential on my own, insignificant, though enough to accomplish deeds of note. Only under Kairos' tutelage have I grown to these heights. Let's go to my questions about you. Why is curiosity such a problem? Because my vassals are not selected for their independence of thought. You are an agent of law, the execution of which falls within strict confines. Your intellect may aid the tasks ahead of you, but your unwavering obedience is of greater value to me. I'm gonna actually kind of disagree with him. Don't you want me to interpret Kairos' laws to fit any circumstance? Naturally, but take care not to let your intellect veer you from the straightforward path. I have seen it happen and lost more than one people who thought themselves above their station, convinced that they knew better. What happened to those pupils? Anyone who oversteps their bounds is given the opportunity to mend their ways. Those who fail my warnings show contempt for Kairos' peace and are treated accordingly. The purpose of law is to set a standard for others. Though I am generous with the freedom I offer to Fate Binders, you are still inextricably tied to Kairos' law. Straining that tether to a breaking point will reflect poorly upon you. I don't think we actually found out what Kairos' law actually is. So, okay. I wish to speak about matters of law. Then you are well situated, for my court is the legal heart of this corrupt and uncivilized realm. What matters draw your curiosity? You are already well versed in Kairos' laws, but I'm happy to discuss the particulars. I wish to discuss Kairos' peace. The cornerstone of our wartime efforts, of course. Kairos' peace guarantees all willing supplicants of Kairos' peace guarantees all willing supplicants under the Overlord's authority to place in our world. The exact wording by law is, your life is not yours to discard. The Overlord has plans for you. Okay? This extends to several spheres of influence. Among others, it grants protection to enemies who surrender in a time of war, and it forbids suicide. To dispense with the Overlord's vassal and property is prohibited. Interesting. Because I wonder if that means like Graven Ash has actually been breaking Kairos' peace, because it grants protection to enemies who surrender in time of war, except like Graven Ash doesn't really allow that. So, yeah. Remind me how the Overlord's name may be used? It is not forbidden to cross tongue with Kairos' name, but it behooves one to use caution and respect. The Overlord's name is not yours to give, whether to progeny, product, location, or abstraction. Slander of the Overlord is punishable by death. There's only one Kairos, and her name is safeguarded. No one may say Kairos and have it obfuscated by a second meaning. Neither will her name be associated to trivialities. A gambler will not attribute his fortune to Kairos' luck, or his misfortune to Kairos' scorn. Such association lowers the Overlord in public estimate, and is rightly considered the slander most foul. Let's speak of quotas and sharing. The harvest blooms and blights by the will of Kairos. In times of lean, you will be fed. In times of wealth, you will feed others. The law is a sizable category unto itself, serving many needs at once, taxes being only two examples. The broadest intent of the law is to empower Kairos' subjects to care for their neighbor and expect care in return. You might take note of the law's application to trade. The merchant's right to peddle their wares is defined by permits granted annually. The regional authority has the right to decide if a merchant sells cabbage one year and sandals the next. Anyone breaking through their restrictions is subject to immediate forfeiture of all assets. You need not concern yourself over the nuances, at least until they apply to this contested realm in a time of peace. Remind me of Magician's Folly. Practitioners of the arcane arts must be sanctioned by one of Kairos' guilds, such as the Blood Chanters or the Forge Bound. Rogue magicians with a tenuous grasp of unknown powers will not be tolerated. Ebb lowers her gaze to ground, thumbing the cords around her bandolier in a thinly veiled attempt to appear uninvolved in the discussion. So long as your Tidecaster remains your deputy, she will have the protection of the court, but not a moment longer. I must allow you to have the most fearsome agents at your side to disperse justice, but you remain culpable for her actions. What? So if I start fondling that tall slab of handsome over there, you're the one guilty of molesting him? I could live with this. She points to none of all, who shuffles nervously at Eb's glance. Too not speaking, mind your manners. Okay, well, that's fine. A sanctioned mage is whose spell casting causes damage to property or life is lawfully deemed innocent, as long as they practice their art in the service of Kairos. All is forgiven. Let's discuss the old walls. The old walls are forbidden, as are their continents and their designs. Owning any item from the old walls is considered trespass, regardless of how it came into your possession. Mind that in the course of your travels. As the old walls extend across much of the tiers of the northern empires alike, Kairos permits her servants to pass only where she has sculpted the landscape to permit traverse. Under no circumstance are you to enter a breach in the old walls, even for a task as innocent as crossing to the other side. Wait, that means the disfavored kind of breached that already, right? Anyways, I'm curious about the restriction on forbidden knowledge. Kairos herself sets the standard of what can and cannot be known. These restrictions are rarely enforced, but they are worth taking into account. During the war, for example, Kairos deemed the knowledge of the Velm Citadel taboo. No one may possess the wisdom of that fallen repository, save for Kairos herself. Calling it taboo seems a bit like overkill, but to play Kairos' advocate, The world would be hardly safer if all had the access to the lore of making poisons or the art of arming brigands in fine bronze. This is for the protection of our subjects. Before the coming of Kairos, during the ages of anarchy and discord, powerful knowledge in undeserving hands leveled empires without the thought of mercy, without thought or mercy. Kairos has no desire to revisit those dark times. Okay, I guess that's all. Then be on your way. I think we're pretty close to having, like... Was that really a quest? Speak with Tunon privately? So, do you guys have anything new to say? Probably not to me, but we'll see. Yep, nope, nothing. Fast mode, and then let's talk to these guys again, see if any new dialogue options opened up. Nope. No, and I guess... Nope. And I guess, well, maybe there might be something here, because we might be going to Ironhearth. Hail Ash and Kairos. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Well, I guess we're technically not on the side of disfavored anymore, but... Whoa, what's going on now? Oh, wow, that was fast. You're not voiced. Interesting. Welcome back, kid. Amusing as it would have been to watch the edict drop, I guess I'm glad you lived. Bleeding mark, Arcana shadow rouses from a faraway stare, turning to face you with a wry smile. Though he stands still, he seems to sift in and out of the shadows that surround him. Here you threw your rings on Graven Ash's side. Not a bad bet to pick the Archon of War. But tell me the truth. Did you go with Ash just because it seemed like the right thing to do? Or because supporting the voices was the worst option? Seriously, where is an option that, like, the voice of Narat kind of attacked me? I mean, I guess I kind of provoked that by siding with Ash, but still. Neither Archon was at their best, but Graven Ash is the more capable warlord. Whoa, is he actually on the side of the disfavored? The disfavored are nothing if not blindly devoted to their general, and though few in number, they're surprisingly difficult to kill. I don't like to understand it. We both have our ways for training. We both have our ways for turning the tides of war. I don't have it. I don't have to like it to understand it. Okay, got it. All that matters is that the edict of execution was stayed. Those stationed at Vendrine's Well should be thanking you for their lives. Now, I assume you're off to go and meet with Ash, but first, you and I need to have a little chat. Okay, I'm listening. Everyone's keeping an eye on you. Just because you did something nobody has done before. Gotta guess what that might be? Gotta guess as to what that might be? Could we say a lot of these things? I'm the first fate binder to awaken a spire of the old walls. You're not wrong, and that was definitely a shock. But I doubt it's the sole reason you made the tears tremble. Proclaiming an edict isn't new, neither surviving or resolving the commandments of an edict. But you're the first to proclaim and resolve the very same edict, and it didn't kill you. In one fell swoop, you survived your second edict, resolved the very one you had proclaimed, and woke an arcane structure that had slept for several centuries. Okay. Bleeding Mark's banner is just a black nothing. That's kind of funny. Okay, you know what? These are all kind of back talky. So why did you do? So why are you telling me all this? Did I do something wrong? Calm down, kid. This isn't a list of charges. He thumbs the blade of a dagger and grins. Prosecution isn't part of my job description. Executing a judgment, well, that's another matter. I don't care what you did with the information, what you do with the information. But you should know the danger you're in now. That you put yourself on the map. Sticking with it is favored a smart idea, kid. At least smarter than getting mixed up with the Arcana secrets. You never really beat one of them, but if you value Ashes Warriors, they'll serve you the best they can. Thanks for the advice. The Archon of Shadows shrugs to you in farewell, but his golden eyes are light with interest as he watches you. Are you just gonna stand there now? How about a little breathing room, kid? I'm kind of surprised he's not voiced, but okay. Bastard City is not really explorable then. That's kind of surprising for a merchant city, but alright. I guess most of this place is screwed up anyways. So we have a whole bunch of things to do now. On the subject of the spires. Wow, we're almost at rank 5, okay. This is from Fatebinder Rogalis. My dear Crendus, the court is all abuzz with the news of the Civil War. Representatives from the chorus in disfavor of having little shouting matches in front of Tunon. The petitioners in the court are swept up in talks of who will crush whom, and when Tunon will bring down the gavel and stop the fighting. What has me more intrigued is the other story of the Venturine Well. Tunon sends you on what I thought was going to be a one-way trip to the well, and not only do you live, you somehow claim the mountain spire, and you broke Kyrus' edict too. Such things can make little civil war seem trivial in comparison, at least to those who can separate the message from the noise. Tell me, what was it like to break the edict, and how is it you took control of the spire? Respond with questions of your own. Explain the experience best as you can. 24-hour response time. Oh, wow, it actually... So this is apparently what I write. Dear Rogalis, Kyrus' edict simply said an agent of the Overlord must claim Ascension Hall before the Kyrus' Day of Swords. The only thing I did consciously was take charge of the battle to claim Ascension Hall. My claiming of the spire happened to be just moments after I felt the edict's grip release. The floor of Ascension Hall gave way, unearthing a glowing pattern buried under the chamber floor. Kyrus only knows how long it's been buried under the tile. As for how long I actually claimed the spire, it's perhaps a mutual bond. Atop the spire is an old structure, a twin-tinted edifice. I'll include a sketch on the back of the parchment. The structure spoke to me in sensations and images. And it seems to respond to my presence in some limited capacity. That is what happened, and as best as I can think to describe it. Does any of this sound familiar or bring any stories or rumors? This is very similar to like a letter I actually would write in real life. Like very, very, very formal, no flavor. Yeah, I'd send it. Sure, whatever. Now, before we do anything, grounding core. What does this do? You can only use it on allies, okay, and not yourself. Got it. 95 lore? Hell no, we can't do anything with that. Okay, well... Can I click on this? Oh, I can click on it and do nothing. I guess Iron Hall Trail would be going to Iron Hearth? I don't know. Oh, there's Iron Hearth. Wait, what is Iron Hall then? I guess let's just go to Iron Hall because we're right here. Yeah, let's see what this is. So by the time we're there, the letter will be sent. No ambushes, unfortunately. That's unfortunate, but okay. I mean, as far as magic goes against the Bane, we should be pretty much fine. We have basically 3 spellcasters. I will read that later. I hope it stays there. I wonder if we could have actually responded to this. We are almost at rank 5 with 2 non-fate binders. It's a bit crazy in my opinion. Where are we now? Oh, this is freaking where we attacked the Bronze Brotherhood. Right? Yeah, it has to be. I remember nearly dying here and running away. Okay, well, this is useless. Let's get out of here.
Sorry.
Maybe we should go...
Sorry,
Yeah, maybe we should go to Lethian's Crossing first, because I want to deal with the Bronze Brotherhood, honestly. Okay, well, this was very productive. And a good time. "19 hours. We just spent, like, basically 2 days, or even 3 days, just roaming around.